Had a few requests and a couple ideas here, and it's about drugs, the color blue, tools, and the alphabet, and the word mystic as opposed to the word occult. So, the first obvious thing here is the color blue and the symbolism with it, and whether or not it has some real world effect. And I see this picture of this guy. He was on TV a while ago. And if we start at the beginning, if it's on TV, it's probably covered in a bunch of A, symbolism, and B, it's probably not true. This guy turned blue from ingesting too much colloidal silver. And it's obviously completely ridiculous. It's obviously makeup. The only person ever, no one's ever seen anybody like him. And then we go into this person that I've seen a couple videos online. And I wonder if it's good editing. I don't know what it is. But apparently, from ingesting copper, his blood turned blue, and this goes into the blue bloods. This concept of blue blood. Now, even if his blood were blue, which I suppose there's a possibility of it, what does that do? What what real world ability or consequences it from changing the blood in color? Certainly, there could be something that occurs. Certainly, I speak quite a bit on removing all sorts of elements from the body, but what exactly does the blue blood mean? Now, if we look at the three elements, the three materials that are often spoke of as far as the elite or winning an award would go, you'd have gold, silver, and you'd get your bronze. And I think bronze has quite a close connection to the copper and brass and bronze, as in the color and the idea of what it might be. So gold, silver, and bronze. And then we get into what pennies are made of. They're made of copper. And what a copper bowl is and the use of that. If anyone's ever used that to charge water, or if anyone's ever put urine or aged urine in it, they'll notice the color becomes blue or greenish blue. Now, I don't want to go too far in the symbolism, but let's get into this idea of drugs and technology and tools. The first drug that man was ever given, the first drug, the first technology, the first tool was language. We can't think of it any other way. A drug is something that puts pressure on and exhibits force upon consciousness to change perspective, to change a dimension, to alter an experience. So, in the most basic format, everything is a psychedelic drug, everything that you ingest. You could go into a room that is full of a certain color, a certain smell. You could go and place yourself in any type of environment, and it would be a psychedelic experience. It doesn't mean just going off and being a hippie and smoking weed and doing mushrooms. That's not the, that's part of it, I suppose. But the psychedelic experience, the psychedelic life, has to do with psychology. Thus, the word psychic, psychology, psychedelic. So anything that anyone ingests, anything that anyone uses, you can alter people's minds with language. You can adjust, and your entire life has been predicated upon the misinformed and informed magical uses of the language, the first technology. So when someone questions what type of drugs can be used and what drugs do, if you eat vegetables all day long, there's no denying that that will have an effect on your consciousness. Thus, it's psychedelic exposure. If you drink coffee all day, obviously people's mind will change. Obviously, their experience will be altered. If you take prescription drugs or medication, perspective and psychedelic experience will change. So, as we get into language as the first, foremost, primordial essence of magic and the occult, but as someone suggested to me, and I think it's a pretty good idea. But then again, it's about this. It's about changing perceptions. So the word occult versus the word mystic. If you say the word mystic, people have a better, more open ear, I suppose, to the kind of ideas. Where occult, it sounds dangerous and bizarre. But as we move along this timeline or this path on this planet, we need to expand our capacity and capability to use, accept, and alter languages. We have to, we can't have this idea and this notion that there are seven deadly words that we can't use, the seven words you can't use on radio. How did they become that way? It goes into the whole idea that George Carlin spoke of, and so many others, that there are certain words that you can't say. And how is that? How is it language that certain letters structured in a certain way to make a word become completely, oh my goodness, you can't say that. Yet if you said something similar in a different language, it would sound the same, but it would have a completely different meaning. So how is it that these thought forms, these people that have put in kibosh on the ability to use letters and sounds in a certain way? And I think where we are now is opening up the capacity to be able to use words, use letters, sounds, vibrations, tones in any way, and people to become more aware of their actual meaning that underneath what the he ha ho, whatever the sound, whatever those you can't just cut out speech patterns. You can't just cut out certain sounds and say putting those sounds together become somehow bad. I know that obviously be through entrainment of magicians, certain words cause a gut reaction. And it's not even gut and it's not even instinctual. They're trained. No one would ever have a bad reaction to certain words unless they were trained to. Thus, why you can speak and say similar sounds and words in other languages and no one would even consider it. No one would even bat an eye because you're entrained to these things. So with all that being said, we get into this word mystic, and it seems to be a more delightful word to the ear than the word occult. Even though occult stands for the cults of the everything, or the O, or the open, as the word open comes from O and pen, meaning a star inside of a circle, which means a pentagram inside of the everything. So O is 50, which has something to do with the 50 states. We could get into a larger diatribe on that, but we're not going to do that here. We'll just talk about this word mystic. So the connection between mystic, as in the X-Men character, and the blue color and the blue bloods and all of these, are they just symbolism? Is something more powerful to blue? Because now we get into this classic example of the red versus the blue. That is the most primary example of the red and the blue. You look at a cop car, you see the red and the blue. You look into the energy of those two things. Blue keeps people awake. So if you have blue lighting in your house, it keeps you up and it gives you a very beta brainwave. And if you notice that on computers, you can have what is called red, a red tilt or a red tint to your screen. And it causes people to be calm and relaxed. So you'd put this on at nighttime. Now, that would be more of a delta brainwave. So it changes brainwaves. At the most basic thing of what red is, red makes people hungry. Red is a signal of stopping. So we get into these kind of, and it's heat. It's the heat generator at the base. And if you look at fire, you get the difference between what red heat is and what blue heat is. But it's certainly, as is shown to most people, a polarity. And once again, getting into all the other work that I've shown, it's not opposites, not left and right, but it's up and down. So your base chakra is connected to red, and your higher chakras are into blue, indigo, and violet, which to anyone really is a quite a similar aspect. It goes from your throat chakra, which is blue, and upward to your indigo and violet, which is your pineal gland and what you'd consider above that as a godhead. So it has to do with your highest realm. So we go back into what people try to express as polarity of good and bad, because it's always been played that way. It's the red team versus the blue team. It's the higher consciousness in of the angelic beings, which are blue, and the lower consciousness of the demonic, devilish beings like the devil that are red.
So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100.
So, is one of more value than the other? Is one better than the other? It's, I don't think it's very hard to say. No, it's not. And if there is a way to get rid of all of these elements in the body that are not good, that are not helpful to the human system, which I speak about often, is the ultimate goal, is the next goal of humans' evolution as a species, as a whole, as individuals, is it to turn your blood blue? And what would that do? What kind of, because certainly we can look at chlorophyll and what the color of the blood might be in plant life, but do we go back to an idea of, okay, your blood is red and yours is blue, and there has to be some, once again, division. Oh, you have type A, you have type AB, you have type O, and it becomes the four blood types and the four seasons and the four elements and all of those fours. And then now we're back to the red and the blue dichotomy. Now, if in that there is more power, then certainly there's some reason to do it. Certainly, for some people at certain times, there's a reason to imbue the body with what would be the elements that would cause their blood to be blue. Now, if it was just for the change in color, if it had no effect other than altering a color, then it would have no purpose. But certainly, getting rid of all of the toxic heavy metals in your system is a good idea. So, is the alteration, is it just symbolic? Or is it an actual thing that occurs? And so, getting back to this language and these tools, by changing vibrations, if we connect vibrations to colors, because they are, if you look at the color spectrum and you look at the vibration, the frequency of certain colors, it's different. So as you go up and down, the color changes as the frequency changes. So is something with the blue blood changing a frequency of the human body? And can we use the technology of sound, whether it be with musical instruments or with our voice or with intoning or using bowls or meditations or whatever it might be, using sounds would to alter our makeup, our blood? And what of these characters that they always show you that have blue skin? What are their powers? Dr. Manhattan. What could he do? And was it just symbolic? So this just gets into giving you guys an idea about altering language to be more mystical. And do these mystical words and these mystical substances and these notions of how to alter consciousness, is it just symbolic? Is it just an idea? Or is it literally some physical trait that has more power to it, just like certain elements surely have more psychedelic effects? When I was speaking earlier of the psychedelic effects of things, we can certainly say a small amount of a mushroom or other physical psychedelic substance will have a more profound effect. So as language is a tool, can the language have a psychedelic effect? And a psychedelic effect to the point of altering blood chemistry. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was more of a large perspective and question for everyone. So if you have any input on it, feel free to throw something below, and try not to come at me with any ideas of what he said or she said, but can we find any other pictures or any other reality than these two pictures that I found? One was a video and one was this obviously made up character who took too much colloidal silver and was on TV. So no one's ever seen this before. But the blue blood is a very interesting concept. So anybody that has consumed large quantities of copper, do we have anybody else that's actually done this? Can we find any other, and what are the results? Because again, I think there are some qualities to it, and maybe it imbues magical powers. Maybe the copper, maybe the change in blood changes something. So let me know what y'all think. Cheers, y'all.
Statement cheerleading statement that's been going around for quite a long time. If love was the answer, wouldn't things have been changed already? Because I know there's a lot of people with a lot of love in their hearts, a lot of love in their minds, a lot of love in their whole being. I think one of the problems here is most people don't know what love is, and how do you even classify it? Is it an action or is it just a belief system? I mean, you can't qualify something as loving. Like there's no direct action. You can't say that's the correct action, that's love. Just like there's that idea of tough love, and what are the love is somehow a learned behavior mechanism in this society, in all of the world. Like people have confounded and confused whatever that might be. It's the most overused and most misunderstood word ever. And so I have a very big problem with it, because I don't know that anybody even. Do you know what it means? What does it mean? You could give 1,000 different meanings and 1,000 different events and 1,000 different, like this is it's just a word, and the people like to just stand behind it. Yeah, because you got these lobbyists out here. You got these lobbyists for all sorts of different pharmaceutical, chemical pushing industries. You've got these warlords. You've got these military industrial complex that's going on. You've got people poisoning the food. No, let's just love them. That will answer everything. Has that worked? I mean, I'm not suggesting in any way that the answer is something in the realm of do something violent or negatively physical. Like this is not what I'm suggesting by any means. I wonder what this cheerleading rant that people go on, love is always the answer. What does that even mean? How can you say that? Well, if it's always the answer, well, then the answer is fucking wrong. If we're putting it bluntly, because I know a lot of people that have loved a lot of things, and it seems like the world is in a pretty shitty place, doesn't it? I mean, it's always like, let me weave this into everyone's bootleg ass heroes. And it's all these people, I don't want to be your guru, but they want to be on TV writing 1,000 books. I took a look at a picture of Ram Dass today. I was like, that dude is a big pile of like donkey meat. Like, I don't know he's looking crusty as shit. Like all probably drugged up on some shit. I don't know. And then I was thinking about everybody's favorite Oprah. Who's her little doggy toy? What's his name? The guy with the ears that he's from Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle. Hey, don't get me wrong when I'm saying these things. I like to bring a little bit of my style of biting humor to things, but because I do enjoy both of them very much. I've learned quite a bit from the both of them. But there is something that is off-putting and it doesn't equate to anything. It's not the answer. It's just like this whole Gandhi thing and this whole other, these teachers, these profound wisdom keepers, and they're always telling people to just be okay with being terrorized, be okay with the abuse, be okay with the governmental neglect, be okay with just relax, watch the sitcom, sit and be calm, situational comedy, sitcom, sit and be calm, read this book. Oh, I'm not your guru, but I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to have 1 million followers. Buy my book. Get my new book. I'm not your guru. I mean, and these are the people that are always spitting out this love and light, namaste, go vegan dog shit. It's a mantra. Do you see? I've explained to everyone before very in depth how magic works, what mantra is, what those vibrations do to the body. If you don't know what the word love even means or how to even establish and form it, then it's empty. It's empty. It's completely without justification. There's no, you talk about the golden compass. Well, like, yeah, in that way you can always kind of navigate through your spirit what's right. That doesn't, what's the correct move in this scenario. But I don't know anybody. They're gonna be like, oh, somebody's like, beating the shit out of their kid. I mean, you'd probably step in and stop that. That wouldn't be, you might do, oh, but I punched him with love in my fist. I mean, it's just to say the kind of these mantras that are so that they just skip over the point. They skip over the where we are. They skip over, like, what does that mean? What was the question? Let's start with that. If love is the answer, what was the question? Now, again, there's all of these great teachers, and I'm not suggesting that love is not the answer. I'm just asking everybody, what is it? How does it occur? Where does it form from? Does it really legitimately come out of someone's heart? Why is it connected to that? We're going to play some, have these people, like, they think they know something about the chakras, the chikars, the I mean, call it however you want. Start using a different language and call it use the Indian names, and even though that's not your culture, and even though you have no clue what that Muladhara chakra means, you don't even know the language, and you're going to speak this out. Well, in the red chakra, it's called I can play that game with you guys. But the point of this is I'm trying to make is what is it so meaningful? Because the red chakra would be the middle one, and the bottom one would be the red one. The middle one would be green. The middle one would be green. So I don't know why they make the heart red, because it seems like that would be the lowest one. But then it gets very confusing, because I'm like, well, what is? Because everybody goes, love, and they love someone, they get married, and then everything ends in divorce because they actually hate the person. That's because they don't actually love themselves, or whatever that is. And this goes into the whole transgender nonsense. People that are transgendered want you, like, they're like, they want you to respect and love them, even though they don't love and respect it the way they were born. Not even to get into all of the secondary methodologies that go into the larger society and programming people to find themselves to not have worth. I mean, this goes into even deeper things, like, taking away the heritage and the history and the roots of even the natives of this land, and making people believe that they came from Africa and they're slaves, and because that's not true. No Africans here. A lot of Native Americans, and there's a lot of there's a lot going on here, more than we can even get into. But fueling this back into this self-hatred that is taught. If we're taught only self-hatred and hatred towards everything, how can anybody express and show love? People think they found it. Oh, the way to show love is to do this or do that, or because a lot of times what showing love is, I've found quite directly that showing love is not telling the truth. If you speak the truth, you are not loved. Why? Do you know how many times I've been physically assaulted for saying truthful statements to people? I find it amusing. I'll talk shit to anybody. I don't care. But I speak truth. So apparently that's not love. Truthfulness is not loving to people because they don't like it. Doesn't matter what it is. I can be saying with a smile on my face, happy. It doesn't matter. So if I were going to equate love and truth, it wouldn't work. Not in this society. So I'd have to say that love is not equated to truth. So would love be lying? What would love be? How do you accomplish this task? Do you just sit there and be? Well, that's pretty good. I think it's a good step, because I always like to give kind of my little input on solutions and on how to orientate yourself, and to give yourself a place of, certainly need self-love, and that includes all of your bumps and bruises and all, warts and everything, as they say. And you can always change these things. It's accepting where you are now and moving from there. It's easy to do. Oh, but the easy things are the hardest because it's just too simple. But in this notion of even that, like self-love, I got, well, what is that? What does that mean? I say to somebody, the most loving thing you could do for yourself would be to fast or drink your urine. And I'm already at that point, I'm already 1,000 miles away from anybody's consciousness of what they believe love to be. Because, apparently we have, I don't know how many millions and billions of people that believe love has something to do with slaughtering animals and eating them. Now that doesn't seem too loving to me, but in the same way, I can find those people, right? And they could be good husbands and good wives and good fathers and good mothers and grandparents and in the community and helping and there could be a lot of things. But then I have to go, oh, but it's under this sinister type of diabolical capitalist society which leeches and breeds off of the succubusing of energy of then we could play that long game. It's like, oh, well, how could anybody love anything in this society? How could anybody accomplish whatever it is that love would be doing if we don't even know what the question is and don't even know how do we accomplish this? Oh, it just means smiling, give somebody a nice hug. Yeah, that's enjoyable. That's great. That's wonderful. But you know how many times, and I don't care who you are, everybody's been in this experience where they tried, they were just literally like beaming in there, they're just like, hey, it's all right, guy, da da da. It's a great day, da. And you try to be nice to somebody, and you really are just like feeling like, oh, I'd like to give you some of my warmth, and what feels like love, and the response is in complete the opposite direction because that person has the same type of ideas that the people that are part of like a BDSM kind of shit. This whole like, I want whips and chains with my right. They've used pain to produce a pleasure. They've used the idea of suffering a pain so much. This has to do with the hero programming, and I hope you can see the connection here. People find themselves, they suffer so much so that the release of that suffering is the pleasure they're looking for, because everything else seems empty. So in that way, their perception of love has something to do with violence and hate and seemingly like destruction and Shiva, like a real deal amount, like not even in a constructive form, but just literally in what's the most violation against the temple. And this is sought all across the world through all the times. What did the Christians used to do? They used to take the whips and smash themselves in the back, right? You get up and you've got what culture is it that will get on their hands and knees and crawl across the desert? I mean, maybe not the desert, but there's so many different cultures that it requires so much. Like, you're born into sin, and there's all of this. Like, there's where we live in this culture. So how can anybody find and define and show love and that be the solution to anything? Because people can't understand it. They can't facilitate it. They can't even ingest it. You try to love somebody that doesn't want that type of what, so then you're out in an impasse. So I guess I just asked the question, and what's the pathway for people? Because time and time again, I'm finding myself, seeing these popularized love and light type guru-esque, here's the shit and this is the way, and I'm like, I just scratch my head like, yo, this has been going on for millennia. Like, there's been people out here, being love this, but it doesn't appear to anyone's imagination anywhere that this shit on this plane of existence, however you want to break this down, but we talk about this reality, it doesn't appear that the controllers, the mechanisms of the architects of control that are in place right now, and the psychopathic behaviors and the lack of care that they have for the world, and their even their what they believe in to be spirituality, physicality, and such. I don't know who they are or what they're doing. I don't know if they're overcome by a wicked demon from a very low place that feels. I mean, that's probably something that's going on here, but nonetheless. So shouldn't that love cure that demon? Shouldn't as all the great stories he told, the powers of the great story of the heroic son, the Jesus on the cross figure, come and overwhelm the demonic satanic force with the help of the Father. Like, that's always the story, right? But again, it has nothing to do with love. It never has anything to do with love. It does have to do with defeating and destroying something evil, though. So it doesn't seem too loving to me, or is it? So here we are back at baseline, right in the middle of the, sector 0, the pinpoint of your mind, the precipice of all of your reality. As you take a deep breath and go, that seemed like a loving thing. You take a sip of some water, maybe, or maybe you just breathe, and then you're confronted. If once again, when you get rid of all of these words and all these ideas, what is it that love is? Eliminate the word, and you have no idea what it is. I mean, it seems like it has something to do with, animals and how they might react and respond to things because of an energetic construct. But it's still not love, right? But then you'd have to, this has to do with like domesticated versus undomesticated feral creatures, because they're both going to respond differently because their environments and their environmental stimuli is different, which puts even humans as abstractions of the environmental stimulus. So who's to know who the great teachers and leaders are out here? I mean, certainly it's supposed to be yourself and your own consciousness, but there, since we're all interconnected as in a webbing across the entire plane, there's something that occurs that unlocks and releases, energies of people and inspires people, but still doesn't equal love to me. I think people have really got to. This is what I always try to convey: is like, get rid of the term vegan, get rid of the term love, like get rid of these religious notions, and love is one. I don't think it exists in the way that people like to. Why did it get so popularized? Why is February 14th Valentine's Day? Who's Valentine? What did he have to do with love? What's he have to do with a heart and getting laid and a piercing of an arrow through the heart? This is all bizarre shit. Like, really, when you get into the I want to use the word historicity of it, because I think that's a fun word, but truly just the archonic force and the magical spelling kingdom. Why do we come up with all of these conduits of information to lead us to believe, like, oh, Hallmark, whoa, hey, what's that? The mark of the hall. And what's the hall? You go down the hallway, there's a lot of ways we could play this game. And it's always in a card, and then I can play that game with you guys all day, but it's not gonna reveal to you the truth. You walk through the store, they're gonna buy the card that has Hallmark signature on it, that somebody made up all of these weird holidays, and you're instinctually brought into this place to buy it for Mother's Day and Father's Day and Secretary's Day and Valentine's Day. And we got one for the Irish and we got one for the Mexicans. What? That's crazy, B. That's crazy. Then we got our July 4th too. Don't forget about that. I mean, we definitely got the really good one with that Christ guy. Now we're stuck here again. Like, who's bringing you to these points? They bring you to these ebbs and these flows and these fluxes of energy that you need to be reminded and remedied about these things. That on December 25th, you will delight in all of the majesty of this guy that died on a cross, right? And even if you don't believe that story, even if you're agnostic, even if you're atheist, even if you're whatever it might be, you could have a different religion. You're still going to kind of celebrate that, and you're going to push energy into that day. and it's gonna work on that calendar and that time and your own rhythms. Here comes holidays, and then the New Year's. There's another one. Let's check that calendar again, and then what's coming up next. Ups and downs. It's a rhythm of whatever you're pulling at your heartstrings. But nonetheless, in all ways, all of these holidays are based upon a birth and death, a creation and destruction cycle. Because most people hate Valentine's Day, but everybody makes out to be a big deal. Most people fucking hate Christmas because they know Santa Claus. They were lied to about Santa Claus, and then when people really get into it and realize Satan Claus and the Christian gimmick and the whole bullshit, and then they actually fucking hate hanging out with their entire extended family because their whole extended family sucks. Okay, so now you got 2 holidays where you oh, anxiety, waste a bunch of money. Anxiety, waste a bunch of money. You see what's happening here? I'm anxious about something. Now it's called fear. And you see, this is always programmed in fear and consumption. Fear the holiday, buy this shit. Oh, she won't hate me, buy her some chocolates and some candy. Oh, fucking get all these presents for these people that they don't, and everybody just exchange gifts and hates each other and doesn't know anything about one another's fucking real life. Right. And then let's move on to the next one. Let's keep doing that. And they do it year round. And they keep you in a cycle, spun out of your fucking mind, spun into the belief of their idea of Jove. Of the planet that it's not even a planet; it's a moving body of energy that they use to point at and say, well, that's what Jove is, that's what love is, that's what getting into all the different signs and Jupiter and but again, it's always. I'm telling you how it's done, so you can just go, I'm not part of that. That's not how my time works. Time doesn't exist to me. I'm immortal like the immortal cell. The eating shit, these holidays, Thanksgiving, that's a great one to celebrate, right? People are going to just consume gross amounts of food and meat products, right? Great idea. That's great, and a great day to celebrate too, right? Because Thanksgiving, whoa, brilliant time of year. I don't know if anybody was very aware of that history. What else do we need here? So this whole culture that's dedicated to confusing people, you better take a hard look at the things that you profess your energy to, and one of them is love. It's the word love. It's the idea of love, just like veganism, just like all these other things. And I'm not saying, once again, that I'm saying go hate things, and I'm not saying to not be eating a plant-based diet. I'm not saying any of that. In fact, I believe in the two notions. I just think you need to be reminded very clearly that these words are not, they're containers and vessels for tiny little fragments of the entire experience of whatever life is. No, life is always the answer. Life, not love. Maybe death is the answer too. Who knows? That's for everybody to choose. So enjoy your days, y'all. We'll talk soon. If you're not familiar with my channel, I am Zen. My channel was quite big, and due to some things on the YouTubes, I've taken down most of my videos. So, all of those videos, wow, like there's 3,000 of them, and now there's only a few. And they covered just about anything you could think of. Yes, anything you could think of. Fasting, water fasting, juice fasting, Shivambukalpa, health, well-being, magical arts, all sorts of things. Etymology, history, all sorts of crazy things. Anyways, so
I'll be reintroducing those videos in a new way, and also turning this basically into more classroom stuff because I don't know. I would like to maintain this channel, so I can't really go as in depth on things as I normally do. So we'll keep these kind of light and I don't know, maybe I'll do some more topical things. Oh, and there's always humor and education. Thus, edutainment. It's entertainment, I think. If you're entertained, let me know. If you're not entertained, uh, keep that to yourself. So who's there? What's up? Hmm. Oh, and for people that don't know this, there is a way to donate to me. I'm like, why would I donate to you? I don't even. What do you do? Well, you'll see. You'll hear. You'll understand soon enough. I will try. I will try to re-release some of the old videos that I have in their completion, but mostly I'm just going to touch on some of the things and then do larger, in-depth classes, especially on etymology, some gematria stuff, I suppose, astrology, um, magic stuff. Who's here? Yeah, let's all be crazy, right? What's up, Will Johnson? Yeah, what is? Yeah, that was the title. Yeah, normal crazy. Because I was out yesterday and having the fun times, and I don't know, just like a couple of people just like, hey, you're weird, you're weird, you're crazy, you're weird. I'm like, I don't know, who's who are these normal ones? What is it? And what is a normal crazy? I think I'm normal crazy. I'm just like an oddity, but I don't really see it as that odd to well, I don't know, think for yourself and educate yourself and become autodidactic. You said what? Autodidactic? Yes, it's a word. Just look it up. Oh, and then have like I don't know, just freedom of expression and uh, highly educated, quick, witted quips, and and I don't know, being funny somewhat. I guess I'm kind of funny sometimes. Anyway, so what should we talk about? Let's talk about crazy. I guess. What do I find crazy? Well, the lunatics have always run the asylum, but it's excessive at this point. Like the real deal lunatics. Like the complete. It's an overload of humor to me. Like right now, there's a few comedians that I wish were still alive, so they could give their 2 cents on everything. Patrice O'Neill would be great. Greg Giraldo would be great. Carlin, obviously. I mean, there's quite a few comedians out there that like. There's some, but they're still as good as they are. They still kind of peck around the ideas. They don't like dive deep in. There's a couple. Andrew Schultz is out there. Burr is out there. There's Mark Norman. There's a few. I do wonder. I do wonder what crazy is to people. People like who isn't on drugs, honestly. No, for real, for real. Like drugs are drugs. Who isn't? I'd like to find these people. The normal people that aren't on drugs. It's like what do you mean on drugs? Smoking the weed? No, that's not what I mean. That is the drug. Sure. I mean, prescription drugs, medications. Who is not doctored? You have curious these conundrums, these questions. So they're not even conundrums anymore. Now it's just like we're in a stew of silliness. That's where the world is, a stew of silliness. It's completely bizarre. It's bizarre beyond belief. It's like what do you wait, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained at this world right now? Yeah, being authentic and real, it's a difficult thing. Like at what cost? At what cost? I mean, some people are just too You know, they always talk about people are scared, like the fear of the world. No, I don't know if it's that all the time. I think some people just really are not that. Like they've been trained and over educated into not being able to think. Their ability to process information in any way uh, is has been removed. People are basically just reflectors of something. They just hear something and they repeat the repeaters. They can't really process and do anything with information. They can't figure things out. I think you'd call it critical thinking. We live in a society full of non-critical thinkers. And it's I don't know why they call it critical thinking because it's not even that critical. It's like it's just what you'd observe something. You'd be like, huh. Well, I'm curious as to how that works and why that works. And the problem is like we could go to the Google or we could go to the DuckDuckGo or the whatever. You can look it up, but you know you're gonna find a lot of different answers if you did all of the. If you really got into it, you'd find a lot of different answers, and then you'd have to go, well, which one seems the best? Is it the most popular one? Oftentimes, it is not. You guys should have seen it earlier. I was hanging with the ducks, and now there was literally because it was just duck birthing season. There's like I don't like exaggerating in stories because I think it ruins them. But there's probably 60 ducks to 60 to 100 ducks. Some are geese, some are the smaller ones, some are the mallards, some were the white ones. No swan. The swans do not come over. They don't come up on the ground too often. But yeah, it was crazy. I sat down and like the two that I know very well. If you guys don't know this, they see me and they run over, and then they like start saying something to the rest of the ducks, and all of a sudden the rest of them just like flocked to me, and I sat down, and they were just walking all over me. I was just sitting there, and they have the audacity. They walk all over me now, like in a funny way. Like normally they wouldn't let me, like they wouldn't want to. You can't pet them. No, they come right over. They just like walk all over my feet. There one was like basically in my lap. I'm like, these are just wild ducks. And ooh, I'm not playing with that wasp right now. Get out of here! I'm gonna punch you in the face, wasp. Yes, I was talking about the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, the wasps. Familiar with that? The NIMBYs and the wasps. I guess that's kind of more of a 90s reference, isn't it? I don't know. So what else up in here? I guess the rest of this show as people show up. I have so many shit because I haven't made any videos in the past couple weeks due to copyright nonsense. I have a bunch of shows like on the back burner that I'm going to make, but for this one, I guess we'll just sit and entertain y'all. Anybody has any queries into things or questions or something silly to talk about? Let's talk about the media for a second, because I was watching two of the greatest living comedians. Very very educated, observant, yet they were having it was Mark Normand and Tom Segura. They're having a conversation about the media, and the great thing was they were just saying how like everything is so reactionary now, and it's like they can't like it's so ridiculous, blah blah blah. But they were saying it like, which is great because they see what it is and how ridiculous it is. But they were comparing it to the media in say the 90s. Like when they grew up, you knew the anchors, and they didn't have opinion. They were just giving you the story, and they're giving you the whatever, and not even understanding that the media has never been like there's not these investigative journalists. No, they're just reading a story that was like prompted for them. That's all they do. They're repeaters. Reporters are repeaters. It's the same. It's what they do. They're just repeating off the script, a prompt. They're not out there like in Gotham City, like, oh, we've got to go find Superman and go. None of that's happening. That's not. It's, I don't know. They just couldn't. They couldn't understand that part. They thought that there was a time that what they're reading and what they're seeing was at least somewhat true. I was like, no, that's probably never been. It's so not even close. The news, the media, it's never been. It's like everything that's fiction is nonfiction. Everything that's nonfiction is fiction. The stuff that you see, like, granted, there's a good story there, but it's nowhere near factual on the news. Never. It's always you ever see those pictures? It's a picture, and you see it's like somebody there's somebody on the ground, and there's a gun to their head, and that's what you see. But then you see the second version of the picture, and you realize that the person is bending over, and they have a canteen of water, but the gun was sticking like this, and it looked like the person was handing them water. But then you look at a larger view of the picture, and there's another person there's the whole, see, it's the small piece of the picture that's painted, and it's not even, most of the time it has nothing to do with, like, in the beginning, you're like, oh, there's a guy's got a gun to his head. No, that's not actually what was happening at all. It's like if you were to take a picture of this right here, just this part of the tree, you wouldn't know what kind of tree it was, but you'd be like, oh, I can tell what kind of tree. You don't know. Could you tell where someone, you can't have the expansive view of the landscape, and especially in the media, that's not their point. That's not what they're doing. Never has been. It's to control perception. It's perception management systems, PMS. It's the way to control the process of information technology and the processing perception. How do people perceive things? That's what everybody is doing. Like, if for instance, if you're a parent and your child falls off their bike, you want them to you would adjust what they're paying attention to. You'd be like, oh, hey, look at, hey, this funny, look, there's a butterfly or something, because you want what they're focused on, what they're paying attention to. You want that to be it. That's so everyone's doing that, but the media is. When it's the fact that not everyone gets it, that everybody thinks that, like, the fact that people still argue about CNN or Fox or Republicans and Democrats, it's just, I don't know. I don't even know where to go with that. It's not even a joke. It's just like, but that's the people you walk amongst, the people that would argue about that. Like if I say something pro the last administration, it would sound that way. And like, oh, you support, like, no, like, I'm just saying, like, as compared to now, and I can say something positive now compared to them. I don't. It's people don't understand. It's the same. It's the same thing. It's the same system. It's been going on for as long as you can remember. And people don't understand that. What aren't you getting about, especially about the media? What don't people get about that? Like, you realize for the media to exist, somebody has to. There's commercials. So the commercials paying the commerce, paying the money, influence the direction of what the story is. You think they're gonna have an ad for Coca-Cola, and then the next piece they do is, well, here's the truth about what Coca-Cola does. They go into communities and suck up all the clean water and turn it into Coca-Cola, and enslave these people and put them into poverty when they were doing, they can't do that. Why would they ever do that? They're being paid by the corporation, like whatever the commercials are. Who is supporting that? Who's supporting the bullshit? People, isn't that something? I don't know. Did I take some special education classes? Like, was the simple 101 business class I took in high school, didn't everybody take that? Didn't everybody get that piece of information? I thought everybody did. And it's even people that are in in business that have taken marketing classes. I know people that have done that for a living, and they still can't see how that is influences politics. Yeah, they make more. They make more. Let's see. So their idea of war and money is energy. They make more energy, but they're not seeing the complete picture, because it's just like in the end of capitalism, the end of certain cycles and things. Like you can only war so much until there's no war to be had, because there'll be no people left. So all the money, you can have all the money in the world, what are you going to do with it? Money isn't the thing; it's energy. You have to understand that you can produce energy. Cooperation is of a higher order in every day than conflict. You can have as much conflict as you want. Like that, you think it's like people that really believe that competition fuels innovation are they're not understanding it. They're not understanding. Look at the quality of products we have right now. Go look at the products that are being sold. They're garbage. But if everybody cooperated and made a better product, everything could be cheaper and it'd be a better thing for people to have. So it's of a higher value and a higher order. But no, competition fuels. No, it doesn't. It doesn't fuel innovation. It fuels some people to have more and others to have less. Doesn't really. It's not. It's not long. It's not sustainable long term. Oh, somebody's got a. Oh, nice. This kid's got an RC car. You hear it? Little RC radio control cars. So this grass that I'm on, check it out. Check this grass out right here. See how awesome it is? It's like basically it's like a, I don't know, it's like a fairway for a golf course. I don't know if you ever went golfing before. The greatest thing about a golf course is taking your shoes off and walking on it barefooted. And this right here is like a golf course. And anyway, so he's got an RC car that he's driving all over it. It's pretty rad. Looks pretty fast too. So yeah, what's up, everybody else? What's up, Divine? What you been up to? I'll probably do more shows. I'll do more shows during a day, but for less hours at a time. And then and then I'll do more. We'll get more in depth in things where I'll do more classroom settings, but it won't be on here. I will not get as deep into things because it's not economically viable for me at this point. So especially because now I have to be like, I have to go. I might offend a censor. You know what the problem with censorship is? There you go. That's the problem with it. What did you say? The problem with it is. So that. Now I want an RC car. Anybody want to buy? Hey, this is also for anybody that hasn't been here. This is a belated birthday celebration. Because you guys were not able to have a birthday time with me on my actual birthday because my channel was squashed for a second. So if anybody wants to buy me a birthday drink or a birthday cake or an RC car or whatever, feel free. You can donate to me. And if you put in the thing like, hey, it's for this is for a beer, or this is for rent, or this is for an RC car, I'll use it for that. PayPal, Cash App, all that stuff. And also for people that don't know this, I do one-on-ones. You can hit me up at Theo Luminous. Theo meaning God, Luminous meaning light. Theo, THEO, LUMINOUS. All that should be beneath. If I haven't put my email in there, I'll try to do that later today. And I do one-on-ones. So if you guys have any more in-depth furthering questions about anything very specific, maybe you're maybe you have hemorrhoids and you don't want to talk about it out here. You don't want people to know you got like a bloody butthole or something. Teach how to fix that. Stop sitting on fences. That would be number one. No more crutches. Nice. Yeah, you were saying that. You were saying that yesterday. That's awesome. Yeah, that's the one thing. Knock on. Never really had knee problems. One time I did. I'll say that. I was doing squats, and I have because I played a lot of soccer growing up, and I wore shoes that were too big. My gait is a little screwed up, so I was trying to fix my posture while I was doing squats, and I shouldn't have done that. I inverted my posture too much and screwed my knee up for a couple days. No good. Ankles though, I've torn my ankles up over the years. They're working pretty all right now though. Oh, and also people want to know about body mechanics, gating mechanisms. I don't know, health, well-being, herbs, posture. I might know some things about this stuff. Also, I burp once in a while, which one or two people were not a big fan of. Can't please everybody, huh? Some people are like, I love your beard. Some people are like, shave your beard, you look like an idiot. And what are you gonna do? Can't do both. Shave half of my face. Would that work for people? Maybe I'll do a second show where you guys get to see all the duck friends that I have. And there's a lot of them. It was absolute insanity. There was a point I was like, oh my God, because geese are kind of big and they fight sometimes. And they were kind of all up in my grill piece. I was like, oh, you guys about to fight right there. Don't fight and do all the wing stuff and hit me with the wing. I don't need that. Turn them into goose wings. I wonder if goose wings taste good. Chicken wings are good, right? Duck wings? Remember Darkwing Duck? Well, check it out. This was just a friendly hello, and I'll do another show in a little bit. I'm gonna plug my phone in anyways, and go get inside for a second. It's a little hot right now. About to be like 90, 93, 94 today. So I'm gonna get a little inside coolness. And then maybe I'll come back in a little bit and do a couple more shows. And maybe I'll have a couple topics. Who knows? Or they'll just be hellos and welcome back kind of things. We'll see. But thanks for showing up, guys. Good to see everybody. And we will talk soon. Good to see you, Divine, and whoever else wasn't here. And we'll talk soon. Toodles.
I'm going to show you how the church is magic and the parallels between paganism, church, and everything else. So anybody that is religious, if you have friends that are religious, this is going to be a perfect explanation of the alteration of consciousness that is occurring in mass, that is occurring all the time, everywhere. People are staring at TVs. It's no different. There's a magical thing going on. And I'm going to explain it. I'm going to show exactly how it works. It's so very obvious. So here you go. So you have your Holy Bible and you have your grimoire. It's the same thing. It's a playbook. And you have your altar and you have the church's altar. Do you notice all of the things that are going on behind the altar? Well, the difference here is when people are in mass, they don't go up there and look behind the altar. But it's exactly the same thing. A couple candles, the liquid, the blood, the water, the symbols, the fire. It's the same thing. So what happens when a magician does it, when a pagan does it, or anybody, whatever you want to call the person that's in charge of that, what they do is they alter the universe for themselves and for people around them, usually for the better, but not always, who knows? But at church, what's happening is there's a group of people that are sitting in front of the altar, or are they sitting behind it? I mean, what's the, they're not participating, they're being told. The magic is being done to them. So this picture here of this guy right here, that is the sigil. That is the mandala. That is the focal point. That is an imbalanced cross. And if you, and people that are into religion, they're always like, oh, they're upset with the people that put the cross this way. That's an imbalanced cross too. And then if you look at people that deal with paganism and nature, they put the cross in the middle. There's something different there. Nonetheless, what's happening here is someone is standing behind or in front of the altar, however you'd like to see it, and there's a group of people that are chanting in a circle, because it's where you get the learning that happens in school, because in school it's magic as well. The same thing is being done. It just doesn't have the same types of magical symbols. But if you look at a teacher's desk, what do you see on their desk? It's always the teacher's apple. Why is there an apple on the teacher's desk? You might want to consider that. Or should I just lay it out for you in another video? I'll probably have to do that for everyone. But here you go. They have the pencil on the teacher's desk, the paper. It's the same thing. The pentagram, that is the apple, which is the 5-pointed star. It's the same thing. And so you have your preacher and your teacher standing in front of the altar, sitting, talking to everyone sitting down, and they have the answers. They have the answers as the teacher. The preacher has the answers. Right? So everybody sits there and they stare at the front and they stare at that symbol, which is a sigil. And they get so, everybody believes the Bible. Oh, the Bible's coming true. Well, what do you think happens in magic? If enough people focus on something, if enough people believe in something, then they create a universe around that magical item. So of course, to the people that are involved in scripture of the Bible, they're reading the script that someone else wrote. They're reading the playbook of someone else. This can happen in any type of magic. This can happen anywhere. And some people come together to make grimoires and make large corporate conglomerations, to make large god forms, to make all sorts of different devices out in nature. Some are participate in nature and do things holistic and healthy and healing towards the planet. Other people don't understand how the magic is being worked. And so these people that are sitting there listening to the Holy Bible, it was written as a script and it's put into people's heads. And then because they're all believing in that and subscribing to that, subscribing, it means to be beneath the scribe, to scribe under, subscribe. So they subscribe to some kind of ideas. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a subscription to something, as long as you know what you're subscribed to and what it's saying. So all of these people are underneath mind control. But as soon as if they can see this the same way, because they don't like what's going on with the pagans, they don't like what's going on with the demonic, the devilish, the satanic, but it's the same exact thing that's occurring. If you're not the one writing the grimoire, if you're not the Time Lord, if you're not the overseer, if you're not the keeper of the words that have been used for how many, the same words have been used over and over. Chant learning. It's called rote learning. Chant. To rotate. It's called rota. And so what happens in school, it's called rote learning. I say, then you say back. It's what happens in the church. Church even means circle. So you're circling back around the same thing, staring at that icon, staring at that sigil. So what should the practice be? So in real time, what I'll do here is I'll show you how to just change this, eliminate all of this. Make your own sigil. Make your own God form. It'll be a short term. It'll be a short term God idea. It will be a very small something that you'd like to see what happens. And here's what we'll do. I'll make something simple that you can all meditate and focus on and see if you can make that come past to come into your life. It'll be something very simple. And we'll do it from the level of, I'm not going to show you a symbol or a sigil that I make without your knowledge, because that would be unfair, because that would be what's happened to everyone for their entire life. They're staring at symbols and they're wondering why they're hungry for McDonald's. They're wondering why they're fearful of everything, but they've gone to church every Sunday and the evil apocalypse is coming and everything's dangerous and all of this, and people are wondering why it happens. So if we just lay it out very simply and tell people what's happening, and I show you, we can look at something and say, hey, we can have something simple. See if we can't manifest each individually something simple by something I'll do here, and I'll put it on this page. Like, I'll think about it. Maybe it'll be something like saying something that you might see on the internet. You're just looking through your Instagram feed, or you're looking on Reddit or whatever you might be doing, or maybe out in nature you come across something. So I'll do that. We'll pause this here. But the idea here, I hope everybody can see it. It's the same alteration. It's an altar. So it's altering consciousness of people and inserting into their mind a conscious program that dips into their subconscious and hides itself until it manifests. And now we crack the whole thing. And then it's scary because, then you don't know what's going on. It could be anything. But now if you just start writing your own code, you can create anything that you'd like. So here we go. I'll do that right now for you guys.
How is it possible that in under a year you sold over 100,000 packages of tea?
Let's rewind back to March of last year.
Here we go. We'll make it simple. And so this is, it could happen in the next 10 minutes, the next couple days, but we'll make it simple. It's just so it's believable to a point, and then we can manifest and move on to more complicated things that might be harder to have come across your reality. But if I write out right now, I will, let's say, see a black dog. Now that would be pretty simple. You're not going to see that every day, but if you did see it, it would get you encouraged. If we made it too specific, if I said, I will see a black dog with blue eyes, missing a left foot, for the universe to create that, it's going to take a little more. But for now, we'll start here. So I will see a black dog. And here we go. Here we get rid of the vowels, because the vowels are always vowed to you. This is how it works. You're vowed something. So then we got the W and an L. So we have a W, an L, an S, the E's, and C, and then a B. And then we already have an L, and a C, and a K, and a D, and a G. So there we go. We've accomplished that. So what would we like our symbol, our sigil, to look like that is going to go into our conscious brain, and then it's going to not look like anything, so it turns into something in our subconscious mind, and that subconscious mind throws out information into the universe, or our higher self, our spiritual self. And here's another thing. This is why it's done at night. So this is why if people write their sigils and write their requests at night before they go to bed, because if they're capable of getting out of body, then in their spiritual body, they can do things to set things up for their next day, so they actually can manifest what they wrote down. And it also, even if you don't have control of your dream world, and if you're not getting out of body and doing things, well, then it still gives that body time to do that, even though you don't know that it's happening. It's manifesting it for you. So then you wake up and you go, oh, deja vu, that's so weird. Yeah, because that's your memory coming back to you of what you decided to create. So here's what we're going to create. Here's the W. Let's do this. Let's make a W. Okay. And so here, let's make an L. This will be an L. So I like it balanced. And I like to use the S balanced as well. So I'll go somewhere in here with this. There's an S back and forth. And a B. How would we like the B to be? Well, we can do this. And again, we're speaking to the subconscious mind. There we go.
And then we have a C. Do I want to use that part as the C already, or would I like to put another C on there? I guess I could put a little C right here. Put a little crown on that. That might be cool. And then a K. Here's the K. Now, this is a very intricate symbol for seeing a black dog, but nonetheless, I'll use these parts of the B for our D's. And then our G. Oops, what's happened here? Here we go. Hold on, guys. Okay, here we go. And our last one was this G right here. So to create the G, I think I'll put that inside of this S that I made here. So we're coming here, and let's make that G right there. And like I said, I like to have it balanced. So I'll go right there, and I'll make a G like that. So there's a symbol that will contain this idea from the conscious mind. Now it's put in something so abstract that we can't understand it. Now, what we can do when we make this bigger, and what I'll do is I'll pause this again and I'll show you the next step to this. And if you do this you can do this on the internet, and you can do it with a piece of paper, and you can put it on an altar, and depending on how much energy and charge you want to put into it, here's the next step. I'll get to this and I'll show you right now. Here you go. Hold on one second, guys. Okay, y'all, here's what I did. I earlier made a digital altar. So the kind of things that you would use in the physical realm, you'd have something of all of the 4 elements. You'd have air, fire, earth, and water. So in this sense here, I have got an incense and a couple candles, which would represent the male and the female. And you've got the water, and I got a crystal, and you can put anything you want at your altar, but it's the basic construct is to have the 4 elements, and your voice is going to be the air. So you've got your fire, you've got your water, and the earth would be your incense there that is getting burnt. So I have all of these things here, and here's the sigil that I made. And what I would do, here we go, is take this sigil, and I'll move this sigil to the middle of this here, and maybe expand it. Let's see how big I want to make it. I want that right there. Now I have my point of focus. Now that sigil has become a mandala. Now this could be, now every one of these colors here, this is just something that I made. I could place a sigil in each one of these, and that could start to be a clock for me. I could identify with this circle right here as the course of a day, and each one of those things would be maybe hours within a day. I could have 12 events that I'd like to occur. I'd have 12 timestamps that I'd like to put in there. And I could put different sigils and symbols in there. And then I'd look at the middle, and I'd focus on it, and I'd breathe, and I would have intention on it. I would use, you can now, doing this in the physical format, there's all sorts of things you can do to charge a sigil, to charge your clock, to charge your day, your calendar. Now you could use sweat. People talk about using blood. I don't like the idea. You can, but again, I've talked about this at length in many of my videos, because if you have dirty blood, you're not going to be getting back exactly what you want, because it's holographic and it's about the energy that's within there. So it'd be much better off using your urine, because your urine is not only sterile, but it's your perfect medicine. It's coming out clean. You could use your urine to charge it. You could use seminal fluid. You could masturbate. You could go and sweat. You could work out with ideas in your mind. Hold on one second, guys. So here you go. There's a lesson in real time for everyone, which you don't. This is why an altar in a sacred space is usually done at night, and it's done in quiet. It's done in what's called the dark or the private or the, it's done in secret. And the reason it's done that is just because of those dogs. So what did I lose? I lost focus on being able to explain something to you. And so you want to maintain focus, and there's times to do that.
So as you're charging these sigils, you can use, as they say, blood, sweat, tears. You could use tears to charge something. But again, you're charging it with the mindset, the intent, and the energy of that. So if you're crying and sad about something, that might not be the same level, that it might not give you the return that you're looking for. So as we do this on the digital realm here, I can sit here and I can stare at the middle of this and I can focus on it. And you can do that too. And that's saying because you know you watched me go through it. Now, this would be like what would happen for yourself being a magician, but you would write all this out yourself. You're still participating in this. But in a church, what would be happening is you wouldn't know this was going on. You'd be sitting there staring at a symbol of someone on a cross, bleeding, thinking that someone died for you. And wow, that would be what a pain that would be. Oh man, that guy did all that for me. I must suck. I'm a sinner. I can't, man, that I would never do that for anyone. See, it's a whole mind fuck. Now here, so you get away from that. There's no one died for anyone. You're existing right now in this present moment. You can create right now because time doesn't exist. So anything that you'd like to do, you can. The past is done. It's emptiness. And you can do anything that you want going forward. So now here you go. You sit here and you stare at this and you focus. And your intention is what you wouldn't have when charging a sigil though, is you would that idea of what it is would vanish. You would just be charging into the idea. And as Neville Goddard talks about, he was a magician as well, but he was doing it from a higher level. He bypassed all of this apparently because he would use his mind and create out of his mind. But we have to understand that the time and place that he lived, the types of things he was ingesting was way different. He was ingesting, the airwaves weren't all clogged up and jammed up, and the water wasn't what it was, and the food wasn't GMO'd, and the environment wasn't as distraught. So and there was no television, he wasn't watching TV every day. I mean, there's a whole different set of frequencies and occurrences that are already jammed into our head that don't allow us to create out of our mind because we need a amount of focus and attention. So as I was saying, that's the highest level, and that's what you're aiming for. But these things now give you a way to sit here, and as I was going through my other videos, you can get into a meditation, put your thumb to your index finger or maybe your ring finger and get into a theta breathing pattern. And as you get into that breathing pattern, you're focused on the symbol. That symbol is speaking to your subconscious mind. And then you daze off and go into sleep. Now, if you're very good at that, you could actually walk into that dream and you could start setting things up and doing things. And then tomorrow, walk that path. And all of a sudden, you'll be surprised to see that, wow, there is that, whoa, holy, wow, that I seen that last night. And those things that you thought were deja vu or synchronicities, you're actually creating them because you wrote them down now. You focused on them. You put it in your subconscious. You went to sleep, dipped into your subconscious mind, and you created your reality. Isn't that fun? And so now that everybody is more aware of that, there would be no reason ever to create a reality that wasn't beneficial to you and someone else. It becomes so simple. And so you'd create something awesome. So once you learn how to do this and you come back and look at my channel, or I come to your channel and you put a symbol out there and we all go, oh, that's going to be something good. Why would it be something harmful? Because anybody knows karma is going to come back and, it's going to serve you. So you don't want that. So here you go. Here's your symbol. Charge it up and see if it actually occurs. See if you see that. And then you can, as you start to do this, you can start to do digital, as I'm doing here. You can make yourself a little digital altar. Maybe I'll put that in my website and give everybody an easy way to just create their own digital etheric, because again, this is just a different style of digital ether. You could create a digital symbol and you can do that all online. So if you guys would like that, let me know. I think that might be something cool that you could all participate in. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and we'll talk soon, everybody. Cheers.